And I realized that I just actually did this all to myself all these years. And I think someone asked me, what was your greatest loss? And I said, losing myself. I think that is the biggest loss that I have suffered. And I think the greatest joy lies on the other side, is finding myself again. I think noticing parts of myself. And yeah, I think just even, I never even thought I enjoyed gardening. I had no idea that it could be actually pleasurable.
Hi, I'm Debbie Thompson, and this is The Stone in My Shoe, a podcast where we explore the quiet things that shape our lives and what can begin to shift when we start to notice what's really there. And today, my guest is Karen Blair. She's a mother, a coach, a retreat facilitator, and she creates restorative spaces for women and conscious parents. Through coaching, walking journeys, retreats, and conversations, she helps people reconnect with themselves through peace, presence, nature, and reflection. And today we're going to talk about the subtle patterns we carry through life and what happens when we finally stop long enough to notice them. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Debbie, for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited to be on this journey with you. And just thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And what I love about the world connection of women is that Karen is in Cape Town in South Africa. Is that correct?
No, in Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg. In Johannesburg in South Africa. And I'm near Perth in Western Australia. And we're having this beautiful conversation together. Isn't that magic?
It is amazing. Amazing that we can connect across the world. I love it.
Yeah. So for the woman who's listening to this, before we begin, as she hears your story today, what do you hope she begins to see or understand about herself?
What she understands about herself is that the world that she is seeking, everything that she's been looking for, everything that she's been striving for, is not out there. It's inside herself. And it's really about a homecoming and coming back to herself, coming to a place of peace and calm. And from this beautiful space of being regulated and feeling and just allowing, not pushing, not pulling, allowing life from this space, creating and exploring new ways of being. So it's just really a homecoming, coming home to self, to the essence. It's like taking the weeds from the garden and the overgrowth and cutting it away to reflect what's really inside of her, what she's been hiding, and allowing that to surface, because those are the beautiful flowers that come to the surface, but they've been hidden so long by what life has done to her, maybe the burdens that she's been carrying. She's not been able to see what's truly her essence, what's truly underneath all of it. So for me, it's so that she can really see herself again. And the beautiful soul is.
It's an inside job. So what you'd say is stop, pause, and look what's inside. Look what's trying to come out. Look at the messages you're getting, feedback, and spend some time there to see what's really going on.
That is right. And it's really interesting when we slow down and it changes the frequency, because that rushing frequency is like a wild animal chasing a deer, like a lion, and it's just running away and running away. And I feel that since I've slowed down and stopped, things are starting to come to me. And it's been very surprising to me, because I always thought everything had to be such an effort and such hard work. And if I didn't rest and if I just carry on going and going, I'll achieve all my goals. But actually, I pushed them away because I was so exhausted. I just completely wore myself out trying to please everybody on every end. And then at the end, actually, no one's pleased, especially myself. I was no longer pleased.
And that's something that so many of us can relate to. So we're going to go into the stone in your shoe, and we're going to talk about what it is and how it showed up. But before we do that, I just wanted to find out a little bit more about you. Where are you in this season of your life, and what feels most important to you nowadays?
So that's very interesting. I've just come through a decluttering and unburdening season. So I've really spent weeks tidying my home and my garden and getting rid of all the weeds. And I've been doing that with myself as well. It's just becoming aware of who is in my life and who I allow into my life, and no longer just saying yes to everyone. If someone needs my time, I used to just run and just stop everything that I'm doing. So it's really a season of slowing down and restoring. So I'm actually in the restoring part of my journey at the moment, restoring and creating. And I think probably more restoring, like really restoring my energy and just being okay with where I'm at and allowing myself to enjoy this moment and being present. It's probably a time of being more present.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I love the decluttering thing as well, to make space, to have boundaries, because I suppose as well, when we've got so much going on in terms of physical stuff, but also mental stuff, it's very difficult to have time to reflect and go inwards. So it's an important part of the whole process, isn't it?
Such an important part. And I really became aware that I wouldn't just have a cup of coffee in the morning. I had to do my coffee in my morning pages and meditate and listen to a podcast and do something and clean up the kitchen all at the same time, kind of thing. And I found myself, especially since I started the stone in my shoe, or my journey with the stone in my shoes. So thank you so much for that. I just actually allow myself to sit in my lounge and actually stare into space and do nothing and just enjoy my coffee. Nothing else to do. And it's been so amazing just to enjoy a moment with not needing to do anything else.
That's beautiful. And that segues beautifully into talking about the stone in your shoe. Now, I know many of us have many stones, some interconnect, some are separate, and it's just choosing one. And if you could name the stone that we're going to talk about today, what would you call it? Can you describe it a bit?
I would probably call it carrying the whole world on my shoulders, taking responsibility for everything financially, emotionally, spiritually, with my children and with friends as well, always being there, trying to uplift and carrying whatever pain they're going through and making it my own. And even with my family, being the scapegoat and just allowing everyone to dump all over me all the time. And then just trying to please everyone and showing everyone I'm actually a good person and a good girl. And I guess that's how I also land up doing workshop after workshop, is proving, look at what I'm capable of doing and look at me, I'm actually a good person and I'm working on. And it's just been so exhausting, to be honest. And I think it's the burnout is really, yeah, I never thought that I actually would burn out,
So,
which is quite interesting.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And this happens so often. So, what you said that was really interesting is that I'm a good girl, I'm a good person. And that those definitions of ourselves often happen when we're younger, and then we carry them through, and more stuff adds on and on, adds on. Could we go back to a time when perhaps you were younger, where being a good person, where you got that belief that to be a good person, you had to be everything to everybody else. You had to be helping everybody else. You had to almost sacrifice yourself to make sure everybody else was okay. Can you can you take us back to when that might have emerged and then how it carried on?
Sure, I think that actually started from when I was a very young girl. And I think it was my father was always working. And I remember how much it used to affect me. I used to count and say, you know what, I only saw you 4 hours this whole week. And it was almost, maybe if I show up better, if I do more, then I would see him more. Maybe, and I used to always think that I was at fault or to blame if there was any unhappiness in the home, like it was my fault, because I was mischievous and I was adventurous and I was always up to something. And somewhere in my mind, I probably related the two, that if I was a good girl, things would change and things would be better. And it's a very interesting thing because I landed up being the opposite. I began to be a bad girl, if I could call it that. And I lived the opposite life then for a long time in my life, where I think trying to be good all the time and nothing changed. I probably got tired of it. That's not working. And then I did something else. Yeah. So,
And
but I think I always carried it with me.
yeah, and it's a big thing to carry as a young child and then carry it into life, a good person, because putting the definition on good is so difficult because everybody's definition is slightly different. So when you're dealing with a lot of different people, their expectations of this, their expectations of this. No wonder you felt like you were carrying the whole world on your shoulder, because you were almost morphing yourself to be good for that person.
You know, what just came up for me is that I never thought that I was very good at anything. I never thought that I'd watch somebody that was a good athlete and great athlete and achieve all these wonderful things and maybe is looking for approval. I wanted to be good, really good at something. And I guess I kept pushing and pushing to see if there's something that I would really shine with. And I don't know that I ever shone with anything, like really, in my opinion, that I was really brilliant at. And I think I kept, even being a mom, I wanted to be like a great mom. And that kind of, and it just didn't happen because my kids went through their own stuff. And I still think, like even trying to get them to do a program where they can find their purpose, it's all about me being a great mom. Let me do this so that I can really, maybe you'll see me as a great mom because I helped you to achieve something. But I'm just finding that I'm just getting just exhausted of it. I just actually don't care to be that great mom anymore. I just want to be a mom and enjoy it. And and it's actually been quite interesting letting go because I'm not getting it 100% right. But when I do let go, the most fascinating thing happens. They actually come closer to me. When I'm not trying so hard, they move closer.
And it's really interesting what you said there, is that you never felt that you were good at kind of anything or exceptional at anything. Because going back, and this happens so often, and we're not even aware of it because this is all subconscious stuff. When we're little, we have to make sense of the world, and our parents and they're doing the best they can in our society, and we have these views of the world. So what you were saying is to be valued and to be loved in the world and to not be rejected was to be good. And then when that didn't happen, you didn't get the feedback, then you tried harder. And then you can't just be good anymore. Now you have to be exceptional. So the bars are, but it's not just exceptional, that it's every aspect of your life. And then everybody has a different expectation from you. And the bar that you've put yourself, I really feel, Karen, how you could be feeling the whole world on your shoulders, because that's a bar of everybody else, and not just being good enough, being exceptional, and not in one thing, but in everything. And when we look at that as adults, that's not possible. And yet we seem to think it's okay for us to put ourselves under that kind of pressure.
Yeah, I think thank you for that. I think it's the awareness of value and doing. If I go to someone's house, I'm always helping. Everyone will be sitting enjoying the dinner and I will be helping everyone to have their dinner or cleaning up the whole table or doing, I feel they'll see this is your value. And even when I got divorced, I somehow have landed up looking after my children financially, physically, emotionally, everything. It landed up with me. And I've taken on that responsibility. And probably part of me thinks my children will think I'm great, but I don't know that they believe it. They just look at me going, oh my gosh, I wish you would just slow down. And my oldest one actually says to me, Mom, can you just slow down? Can you just walk slowly? Because I notice I'm rushing to get to do so many different things that I don't actually just enjoy the walk. Like I'm rushing to the next place. And I'm saying this in terms of walking, which I do, but it's in terms of everything. I forget if I'm leaving home, I leave 5 times because I'm rushing and I leave everything behind and have to keep going backwards and forwards. And so it actually makes the situation worse. I get more stressed. So yeah, so carrying all the responsibility has become too much.
So, Karen, this sounds like this is something that has been part of your life for a very long time. I guess the seeding of the stone was this belief about how you get valued in the world. And then it just built and it built. So at what point did things shift and you went, I can no longer ignore what's happening. I need to make a change?
That's rather interesting. It was actually after the retreat, the creation retreat. And it was a very interesting experience for me because I went to the retreat because I thought, okay, this is a time of restore, rest, rejuvenation. But I took the whole of me with me. And I don't know that I slowed down even there. I can't remember just lounging on the couch. I would be talking to this person or doing something, or I don't know. I don't actually even know what I was doing, but when I came home, and then I wasn't sleeping a lot. And yeah, the lack of sleep and traveling for 26 hours or even more, probably it was 30 hours each way. I came back and I was absolutely shattered. I just thought, I can't do this anymore. And when I was at the retreat, I instantly wanted to help. And then Elena said to me, why don't you just enjoy the retreat? It's nothing to help. There's nothing to do. Just enjoy it. And I realized that my value was in doing something. And then I immediately felt, what's my value here? What am I have nothing to offer. What am I going to offer? I'm nothing if I'm not doing something. And it became so evident to me that I always had to do something, because I thought that's the only way people will like me, is if I actually do something.
Wow, that's a big thing to land. So when that landed and you had the time to actually not busy it away doing something, you had to look at it in the face. How did you feel?
So then I actually realized that I've completely burnt out. I actually realized that I actually had nothing more to give. And I continued with it still a while longer, because I tend to find people that are not well, and then I want to help them, and I didn't realize that I wasn't well. Like I wasn't feeling well, and I think I'm so busy looking to see who can I help, who can I do something for, that I actually didn't realize my condition. And sometimes I'm so exhausted now that I actually just think, I actually can't do one more step. I'm just going to do nothing, absolutely nothing. And I think it was just after the retreat, I really started to notice. And then I just started to work in my garden. I just thought, oh, I don't actually feel like working now. Let me just go and be in my garden and enjoy being outdoors and have no shoes on and just be calm. And I let things be. And actually, today I had a coaching conversation with someone, and I said to my son, no, darling, I'm not going to be available. If you can please make your breakfast and your school lunch. And he said, I don't know how to do it. And I said, it's okay. I'm sure you'll find a way. And when I came from the conversation, he had his breakfast and he was making his school lunch. And I just thought, see, it is possible. It's just, I actually took it away. I took it away from him. The opportunity to actually, and I have been doing that a lot all the time. I take it from them. So I think this has been the big thing for me, is just let them be. And if he wears dirty clothes, that's okay this week. He'll be fine. He can wear his dirty clothes.
Yeah, that's so interesting about doing things for children. And I really heard you there. And I remember with my son, I used to do everything for him because I wanted to show him how much I loved him. And actually, he's 24 now, so we could have this conversation. We had this reflection conversation. He goes, Mum, in some ways, you rendered me a little incompetent and made me feel that way because you always stepped in to do stuff for me. And how am I going to learn if I don't do it myself? And I go, but I did it because I loved you. And he said, and so many of us understand this, right? I do it because I love you. But it's actually achieving the opposite. I actually wanted to ask you, those things that came to you are incredibly profound. Looking back, now that you've given yourself the space to actually listen to them, was that a stone in your shoe that was hurting your foot along the years? And if so, how did it show up, and what happened that you didn't listen?
So are you speaking specifically now about my children and doing everything for them?
Or do everything for everybody? It sounds like you were looking to be a good person, and how can I help? How can I help? Without me helping, who am I? I am nothing. So that's a huge statement. And I'm sure many people will really resonate with that. I know I do. But yeah, so my question was, you must have had feedback about that over the years. And I'm interested to know what that feedback was that was hurting, that stone was hurting your foot, but you ignored it, and why you ignored it.
It really stopped me from living my own life and doing the things that I enjoy doing. I was so busy pleasing everyone else. I think I did get feedback actually from the people that like my father would say to me, you've got to slow down. Why don't you slow down? Why do you have to get up at 4 o'clock and meditate and then go for it? Like, why do you have to get up so early? Can't you just relax and just be and just do nothing? And even my children would say, can't you just do nothing? Why don't you sit with us on the sofa? Why don't you leave the dishes in the kitchen? Why do you have to do them right now? And so I have been getting feedback. I think what I did is I completely disconnected from everyone, trying to just have a moment for myself. But that started to hurt me even more, because then I just landed up just being on my own all the time. And I realized that I just actually did this all to myself all these years. And I think someone asked me, what was your greatest loss? And I said, losing myself. I think that is the biggest loss that I have suffered. And I think the greatest joy lies on the other side, is finding myself again. I think noticing parts of myself. And yeah, I think that's just I never even thought I enjoyed gardening. I had no idea that it could be actually pleasurable. I used to think, oh my gosh, like that's what a lot of work and how awful to have to do. So it's been with me. I think I made it normal to walk around with a stone in my shoe. I think it was normal for me.
I think you and so many of us, because you ignore it. Yes, it's painful, but it's not painful enough until a breakdown happens or something. And I'm always intrigued the feedback that people get, and your dad saying it and your children saying it. And yet, because the other belief that I am nothing unless I am giving or doing is so much greater. And when we unpack it, it's something that you picked up as a little girl. It kept you safe then. It's just, this is the absurdity of the rules that we live, as you said, of the life that you wanted to live.
It comes up for me is that sense of belonging and fitting in, because I never felt that I fitted in anywhere. So I thought, if I'm doing something, then at least I feel like I'm useful. I don't fit in. And I don't know that I fitted in at school. I remember sitting on my own at break, and I didn't really feel, and if I look at my whole journey, I would join a community and then leave the community and then join. I don't know that I ever felt that I was a part of it, that I could actually share my voice in it. It's like even now I'm part of communities, but I never speak actually. I don't actually have a conversation in the community. And I think it's a fear that I might be rejected or shut down, or someone will say, oh, that's rubbish, what you're talking about. So I just think rather just say nothing and just watch from the outside and then disconnect myself. And I think being on my own was probably the safest place for me, but until it wasn't. Until I just felt like completely excluded. And I know that I did this to protect myself. But I think the doing was the time where I felt, okay, well, at least that's useful. At least I can be useful.
Oh, I hear you. I really hear you. And I think many women listening would, and it might be a different stone about not having a voice, not being safe enough to be heard, not being good enough, not belonging, all these things. And how these stones, rather than being looked at and brought to the surface and going, I do belong. But this is where I belong. It's just, I'll keep busy. I'll take the pain away now and find a way to be valued and useful. So, Corin, I totally resonate with what you're saying. Much of it could be part of my story, slightly different, but yeah.
And I think the greatest revelation I have recently had is that it's to be useful to myself first. It's to belong inside myself first. So I think I've been trying to get away from myself. And I think this is why I keep joining workshops and retreats and whatever, is because I actually don't want to be with myself. Like I want to get away. And it was interesting after the retreats. It was the first time I actually wanted to come home, because normally I don't want to come home. And I'm realizing I don't want to come home to whatever is inside of me. I just want to get away from myself all the time. And I think since the retreat, I'm just thinking, it's okay. I'm actually okay with being unhappy right now. Let me just be with all my unhappiness in this moment and just allowing whatever comes up. And okay, I'm angry for a moment, or I said the wrong thing. Okay, I said the wrong thing. Okay, that's fine. I said the wrong thing. It's not the end of the world. And maybe I'll fetch my child late from school. He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. And just being with whatever's coming along, and not, I think that's the whole thing, is the stone in my shoe is really about not actually wanting to be with me. And I actually used to say, I wish I was you. I didn't have to be myself. I wish I just could be somebody else. And the more I'm on this journey now, it's this, I don't actually want to be anyone else. I actually just want to be myself. I think that's the whole thing is actually I just want to be the whole of me, whatever that means. And being okay whether people like me or not. Not everyone's going to like me. And that's okay. That's okay. If they don't like me because I'm not helping, that's okay. If they don't like me because I'm not doing something or just sitting still, or I didn't answer the messages, at least I received 10 of them, and they're unhappy, that's okay. And that's okay, because right now, I don't want to answer. I just want to just do me. And I think that's been the
Do you know, I love that. And I love it because it's so human and so real. And that without the dark, there is no light. And so we need to accept every part of ourselves, not just the ones that are acceptable to everybody else and also to acceptable to ourselves. I don't want to be angry or irritated or sad. And those are bad feelings that we've brought in and we've made meaning of. But actually, what I loved what you said is the whole of me. And that's what makes us so beautiful and so human and so raw and so authentic, is because we need the yin and the yang. We need the dark and the light. And when we resist what we call the dark, anything that we resist persists. So we need to befriend every part of ourselves.
That is absolutely, yes. Thank you for putting it in those words, because I think that's been the hardest part, is to accept that I made mistakes. It's to accept that I did things that were not good, to accept that I hurt somebody yeah. And I think a powerful sentence that I heard was that everything is accurate in the drama is starting to land with me, because sometimes the things that we do that are bad are the awakening for the other person, which they might have needed. I've been in armed robberies, and I can honestly say I thanked the person afterwards, because I thought, oh my gosh, I was so fast asleep. And thank you for coming along and shaking up my whole world, because I needed to be awake and I was asleep. And so I think some of the things that we've done that are bad might actually be the best thing that happened to the other person. It's not that it's okay. I'm not trying to say that it's okay, but it's to stop the punishment and the shame and the guilt, and just realize that I guess everyone makes mistakes. I don't think there's one perfect person on this planet.
We're human. We're human. And I think another really important part is being compassionate to ourselves and saying, rather than getting caught in the mud of the shame and the guilt, because you get deeper and deeper in the mud, but to go, what can I learn from this? What could I do differently? And I think when we look for lessons in harder times, you often learn a lot more when things are tough or when things are dark.
If I think about it, I managed to walk around with a stone in my shoe all these years. And that's amazing. It's amazing that
We all do, Corinne. We all do. That's the crazy thing. So just what was the hardest pattern for you to let go of?
people pleasing.
Okay.
People pleasing. It's my pattern. I'm always people pleasing.
And so what are your strategies that you're using so that you can be aware that you're people pleasing and do something? Because number one, being aware it is step number one. And then number two is to choose to do something differently.
And now I ask myself, what would I like to do in this moment? What would I like to do? Would I like to drive to the other side of Johannesburg to do something for my son? Or would I like to just sit still and look out the window? And if I feel like looking out the window, it's a work in progress, I'll be honest. Sometimes that's working and sometimes it's progressing. But I find that I just ask myself, do I really want to do this? Would I like to do something different? And I think that's helping me a lot, just asking myself, what is good for me right now?
That's amazing, because you are checking in with yourself, you're putting yourself as, I'm okay exactly who I am. And when I want to give, fine. And when I don't, but I'm the same person. I'm just as lovable, just as worthy, just as everything. And that permission, was that challenging to do?
Yeah, it was challenging, but it's amazing because it's changed how I feel about things. Because now I pack the dishwasher because I actually feel like it. not because I feel a sense of obligation or I'm trying to make somebody happy that Mom cleaned the kitchen. It's still there at times. I still notice that it creeps in. But in general, I'm starting to feel, how does this feel for me? Because I actually like the kitchen clean. Does it feel good for me? And I think, oh, actually, that's very nice. And it makes me happy to see my clean kitchen. So yeah, so it has been a challenge, but I'm enjoying this looking inwards to see what is it that I really want. And I really wanted to do this podcast with you. So I'm so happy to be here today.
I'm so delighted. I'm just so delighted that you're here with me and sharing everything in such a honest way that other people will really resonate with. So you describe your journey as coming home to yourself. And now that you've done this work and you've seen the patterns, and as you said, it's a work in progress, and as one part of the onion is unlayered, another one appears. And that's the wonderful thing about being alive, is it's a journey. What do those words mean for you moving forward, coming home to yourself?
It means a deep sense of peace. It means a relaxed nervous system. It means really enjoying beauty, the beauty of the inner world as much as the beauty of the outer world. It just means restoring, resting. It means just being myself, the fullness of myself, and enjoying all the parts of me and allowing them to shine and to grow and showing myself for who I am, not for who others want me to be.
I love
That's
that.
it.
I love that. And that's where real authenticity comes from, is not what others expect of me. And that brings me back to, I love that you said that, because one of the reasons I started this podcast was this woman called Bronnie Ware. She wrote a book, and the top regrets of the dying. And the number one regret of the dying was, I wish I'd had the courage to live authentically for who I am or who I want to be, rather than what others expected of me. And if that's the top regret of the dying, then I think we should take note of that. And while we're living, go, who am I? Authentically, who am I? Not who I'm going to be for everybody. Who am I? We've got this one wild, precious, amazing life, and we've got to live our lives, don't we?
100%. I absolutely agree with you. Thank you.
So just to wrap up for the woman who's listening, and much of, or some of this resonates with her, and there's a woman out there who's just feeling exhausted carrying everybody else. What are your parting words to her?
Be kind and gentle to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And allow yourself time to just be still, to drink a cup of coffee, to look out the window, with nothing else to do. And just really enjoying being present. I think for me, it's about being present to the moment, because the magic is in the moment. Because if I just look at this podcast moment with you, there is nothing else that I'd want. There's nothing else that I needed in this moment. It was complete. It was joyful. It was everything that I love doing. I love having these kind of conversations. And it was so beautiful for me. And it's just to allow that in every moment, whether you're having a tea with your children, or you're climbing the mountain, or whatever it is, allowing each moment to be a beautiful moment. Doesn't matter.
I love that. I love that. Every moment to be a beautiful moment, and allowing it. We have a choice, don't we?
We have a choice.
And that's where the power is. Karen, thank you so much for your time today, for your wisdom, for your honesty. And I love this journey that you're on. And I'd love, 6 months, a year, to see how you've grown and flourished, and your unique light is shining into this world, which is beautiful.
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you so much for having me. And thank you to all the ladies watching. And I'm hoping that a little bit of peace comes your way, or you feel it, and you feel that calmness in your own beauty.
Oh, beautiful. As you finish listening today, just notice what stayed with you. Perhaps it was a part that felt familiar, or maybe even slightly uncomfortable. And don't overanalyze it, just recognize it, because often that's where something is asking for a little bit more attention. Thank you for listening.